Assalamu alaikum and good evening and welcome to Breaking Barriers here on IBN Channel 8. Of course, it's a pleasure being in your company. I'm Inshan Ishmael, your host. And as we get ready to celebrate 20 years at IBN here, yes, this is our 20th Ramadan. I would just like to say on behalf of myself and the people, the stalwarts who were there at the beginning, there was Hisham Muhammad, Asim Mohammed, my good brother Hasib Majid, and others. I would like to thank them for their support. And for all those of you who have been supporting us for 20 years, over 4,000 death announcements, man. When you look at it, it is incredible. And, this journey is one that when I look back, and I look back to when IBN started or when it germinated from, it took some trial, it took some errors, it took some getting used to. And I remember that afternoon that we came on here, there was also an earthquake, and of course that crack is still on the foundation here, but those are the memories, and of course we thank God for bringing us this far. Before we get started with the normal stuff, there's a death which took place on Friday, and Justin, I sent you a photo of the gentleman. This is the gentleman that passed away. Is someone that I grew up with in all the camps, Tucker Valley and different areas. This is the gentleman. His name is M.K. Hussein. And this gentleman, there is no scholar in Trinidad and Tobago that could match this gentleman in terms of his humility, in terms of his devotion, in terms of his love for faith and for people. No one. And he was also a member of our Jamaat as well at Baraka Grounds. In fact, I saw him on Friday, and he passed away on Friday night. And of course, just to let the family know that he will be missed, there are memories of him, that I have, and one or two, I still smile when I think about it, like the time he brought a goat in the back of his van, and he brought it for me, and he said, I brought a gift for you, and it was a live goat, so all I could tell you is, boy, MK, I wish that I could have done or could do 5% of what you have done, because in Trinidad and Tobago, there is no one, absolutely no one that I could think of that measures up to you. And I'm sure that many people will agree. Well, tonight, the program is on as usual. And of course, in studio, we have Nazim was out for last week because of the menopause thing, but one is that he's back now, and of course, I would like to welcome Nazim back to the studio, and of course, we have Richard, and I don't know why Richard is so uneven with his pacing. You're closer to him than to me. I'll be there.
You sure?
Right, you're okay. You're good there now. Richard, how are you going?
Good night to both of you.
Good night,
Always
sir.
a pleasure. Missed you last week.
Well,
Everything sorted?
It was good to watch you all on TV and, see the amount of problems we have in this country. So I say, I can't stay home tonight.
Right.
I had to come out and do something. So assalamu alaikum and good night, everybody. And again, on the issue with Mr. MK, as Inshan said, I spoke to him on Friday after Jummah, and I asked him, I say, MK, how things going? He said, Alhamdulillah, everything going real good. And the man passed away the night. So you see how it is? You could make how much plans you want. There is one man who already planned everything for you.
Yeah, his daughter and family actually was in the next room, and he went to rest in the living room. And normally, if somebody living with you, you'd hear them either coughing, or they found that there was a lot of silence. And when they checked on him after 10, they realized that he had passed. And boy, the good thing is that one of the things that I always say, all I want is a little 1 or 2 days warning, right? You see, to pass away just so, you don't get to tie up final edges and Moody calling. Check on Moody there, I see Moody calling. Moody like he get locked out, right? So what happens is that, as I said before, this is a man that we all will miss, and God bless him. Tonight is open forum. And, discussions are open. But one of the things that I want to do is that I want to do a poll tonight, because what is happening is that there's a lot of what you call infighting amongst the people in the opposition on the ground. You're talking about the people who support the opposition. There's a lot of animosity. There's a lot of hatred that is coming out because on one side you have, boy, I don't want that person there, and then the next side you don't want that person there. And what is happening is that people forgetting the fact that we have had 10 years under PNM, 10 years of hell. And sometimes you just have to overlook certain things. But then again, if changes can be made before the final tally, I mean, then we should be able to influence it. And then if the politics of the day is that you're listening to the people on the ground, then our voices should be heard. We should be listened to. Because, quite frankly, it ain't like long time where people go vote and support you just for the sake of voting and supporting you. People are more educated now. People are more familiar with the issues. And at the end of the day, a lot of the people who were uneducated in the past, like you had a lot of people like our forefathers, etc., who came from the sugarcane industry. They would just go with, I support she because that is Tanti this or that is Uncle this. Doesn't work so anymore because the children are well educated. And Richard, we know that, and you come from a family of politics who is deep in the politics. So you know that almost every day at your home and one mommy and daddy in the car, you must get a touch of politics.
Of course, every conversation.
What do you think about what is going on right now in Trinidad?
At the end of the day, citizens have to understand, and so too, and when I say citizens, I include the politicians and the political minds of the country, that it is better to go into the election united with one motive and one objection.
One objective?
Sorry, yes, one objective.
Oh, wait.
Objection against the PNM.
No, let me take note of this.
Let
me take note of this. The time and the date. Okay, good, right, go ahead.
Objecting already, that is so good.
I object to the PNM.
No, I catch you there. It's not often you get to correct and a turn, friends. A man of the word. You understand? This is a bookworm, So here, I took note of it, but go ahead, sir.
Mm-hmm. So we have to go into this united. And the objective has to be to remove the People's National Movement. There are a number of reasons to do so, but I think we can all agree that at least one of the reasons touches each and every one of us. Failure of the health sector, failure, safe and secure environment, failure in every port, in every aspect of the country, public servants, no pay raise and so on. And those are just to name a few, bad roads, and so on. So one of those issues must affect you. And if that is the case, I mean, low housing is also another issue, and then you're removing people who have housing. So one of those issues, and the more I talk, the more will come to my mind. One of those issues must affect you. And therefore, that's how we come to the conclusion that we need to remove and depose the People's National Movement. Now, of course, it is better to obtain that objective united. It is better to go into the next general election with a united and collective mind. I don't think that is difficult. I don't think that is too hard to do. I think personal animosities, personal grouses and grievances need to be set aside. And the politically minded persons need to listen to the people on the ground who are fearful of going into 15 years with a People's National Movement government, who are deathly afraid of what may happen after the general election if this government is not removed. And the best way to remove them is united. The best way to remove them is to put aside your differences, however small they may be. Because as Enchan correctly pointed out, it's who like who and who don't like who and so on. It's small differences. Put aside those things and look at the facts in front of you. Look at the murder rate increasing, state of emergency. The government has lost all control, all hope of dealing with crime. increasing their own salaries and not increasing anybody else's. They're leaving goods on the port. They're not addressing serious concerns and so on. And they're not addressing the healthcare sector and failures there, the education sector and failure there and so on. We have suicides on the rise and so on. All of these issues are critical issues that touch and concern us. And I think we need to be truthful with ourselves and realize that we need to remove the PNM at whatever cost it takes. What do you think?
Well, I want to hear what Nazim have to say.
No, my perspective along the same lines. But it shows that how the PNM is different from the UNC. Because, for example, watch at the candidates and the selection taking place with the PNM. Not a crapo chirp. Crapo does chirp? What song a crapo does make?
Croak.
Croak, sorry, croak. Not a crapo does croak. Hans, who was supposed, Amy Brown, who was supposed to go up for Diego Martin West. Mm-hmm. He suddenly pulled out because Rottweilers speak. And once Rottweilers speak, the rest of them put their tails between their legs and they stay quiet. Mm-hmm. Like, for instance, when they had the straw poll, 11-4 and 9 against. Next week, 21-4. Somebody get buff up inside there. Mm-hmm. But none of them are coming and talking. All of them. The men and them, they lose the testicles, and the women,
they lose the testicle of fortitude, you mean?
I mean,
because if they lose the testicle, well, then we had to call.
Well, that one mean they have none. They have none. They have none right now. They lose it.
Pressure.
And what I should say with the women? What they lose? The ovaries. You understand? If you check that, and everyone is silent. But I know they don't like Stuart Young as the leader. But everybody is quiet. Screening is going on Monday for Dwayne. With all the allegations against him, I want to see if Port of Spain North is still going to elect him as the candidate. And if they do, that would show you the level of lowness in the PNM.
But you see, one of the things that you will hear is that it's the same thing within the UNC. Because let us look at representation here in this area. We have had the worst representative for the last 10, 15 years, Khadija Amin. 4 days flood, and she come, twiddling she thumb, and batting she eye, right? And that is the representation that we have. And not only that, 90% of what was done in Bamboo number 2, it's stuff that I got done by highlighting issues. So we don't really have a representative here. So likewise, I could say that if they put she back up again, it's the same thing. So therefore, on all sides, and let us be fair, on all sides we are seeing the same thing. But here's what the difference is. What I have noticed with the PNM is that even though they are putting candidates and putting them instead of certain candidates, for example, Amory Brown is a man that I like. I like Amory Brown. Amory Brown has never stained his hand in anything. You have never heard Amory Brown involved in any bacchanal. Not only that, Amory Brown went to the United Nations and stood up for Palestine and spoke out and spoke from the heart and ended up getting licks from the Jewish people here and in the Caribbean. But Amory Brown stood his ground. And Amory Brown was pushed out for this fella, which I don't know.
Hans.
But the thing is that when you look at the candidate that they put to replace Amory Brown, you are hearing that he involved in any skull, in any fraud. You are hearing he does be by the bar every week. You are hearing this and that. What the PNM is doing is that they are putting candidates who have life in them. On the other side, Kamala Prasad's sister put a retired principal from San Fernando. When you have problems in your constituency, you call he home 9 o'clock. By I sleeping, why must I call me back in the morning? You need young blood, not because you like somebody, you're going to put them. And this is why tonight I want to open up the phone lines. And I want to ask this question is going to cause some stress. What do you think of the opposition chances based on their present selection so far?
No, I think you kind of jumping the gun there.
Because they have not selected all.
They only have 7
No,
candidates.
but what I'm saying, that is why I said based on their present selections.
Right.
Right? Based on their present selections, or what we could say based on what we see going on right now, what do you think are the opposition chances of winning the general election? Guys, right? So when you call in, turn on the volume on your television, please. So the question tonight, and when you call, please, please, please remember to keep it short because we're going to move a bit fast on this question and we want to take as much people as possible.
And what suggestions you have to improve?
Noel, what we could do, we could take that afterwards.
Right, correct.
We could have them call back in. And what happens is that let us hear what suggestions they have, because to me, there are 3 people seated here who don't want the PNM to come back.
At least 3.
And that is a given.
Of course.
That is a given. So therefore, it's not to say that we not doing things in support of the opposition. It's not to say that, boy, while highlighting these things for bacchanal kind of thing. The fact is that at the end of the day, someone has to start to listen so that we could start to get things done. Let's go to our lines. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, good evening.
Yes,
Well,
sir.
for the past 4 years, into 5 years, everybody is Tata, Kamla, and the UNC as a whole. All of a sudden, everybody popping up now as Kamla said, pop-up parties and so on and whatever. They want to get on board. Like Prakash wasn't there. He hear election bell ring, he come on board. And whatever, X, Y, and Z, right? But the bottom line is, all these parties, I heard one party, the NJAP. Where's the NJAP?
But who is Love? Where does, Love Party? Who is Love? I never hear about Love Party in my life.
That is the fellow who is beyond 104.
Lennox.
Lennox Smith.
Yeah.
Lavanti
But not only that, Nazim. COP was buried a few years ago, and now all of a sudden they have been resurrected. I ain't hear about MND, which is Gavin Nicholas' party, which also stands for making no difference. But the fact is that at the end of the day, anyway, let's go to our lines. Go ahead, Richard.
And callers, let's just go with the vote and then we can call back and you can expand on your point. Hello, good night. Hello. All right, we probably lost that caller.
Right. Hello.
Yeah, look like. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good night.
All right, what is your...
Sean?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, UNC could win the election, but they have to work very, very hard with honest people coming out and do plenty ground work. They have to do plenty groundwork. They have to meet the real grassroots people and talk to them and see how they can get them. They could, but they have to do that. And I ain't seen that at all. PNM done do that already.
Thank you very much, Mama. Well, PNM has been on the ground months now, but not only...
PNM done do the groundwork all the all the time. But UNC has to come out and do groundwork with the grassroots people.
Okay, thank you very much, Mama. Let's go to the other line, guys.
Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yes.
Yes, good evening. Go ahead, please.
Hi. Good evening, Sean. It's so good to see you. I think the way they are structured now, the UNC, I don't think they have a good chance at the poll. This is my impression.
Thank you for your honesty.
Yeah, I think they don't. And I mean, I agree with you. They're picking some people that I do not think have the confidence of the masses. So the only way I see UNC winning is to get together with the minorities. I think the population asking for that, they're working towards that, and I think they have to hear us and do that. Most of us were CUP supporters or ONR in the days gone by, and they need that support to win the election. So they have to come together. Otherwise, I don't see it happening.
Correct.
Thank you very much.
You see, you cannot say they are Gary bad-talking members of the executive, and Gary didn't bad-talk members of the executive. Is one member that Gary have a problem with. And the problem that Gary have with that one member of that executive is that she said that the UNC could fight the election alone. They don't need no partners on board. Now, mind you, when you look at Kamala Prasad Bisasa saying that at the end of the day, Gary Bartok, we executive. You have people who curse Kamala about she mother. You have people who curse Kamala husband, curse Kamala grandchildren, call Kamala all kind of nasty name, all kind of drunk, stink mouth, this and that. And then you have Roger.
Dragon mannequin.
With the mannequin, dragging she all over the place. And those are the same people, and Hamid Ghani said it tonight on news, that it is passing strange that the same people, right? The same people who never wanted to be a part and was willing to bring it on, are now on your right and on your left. So what is going to happen? This election, all them tape on them, PNM going to use it to their advantage. Because it is there out in the open, on the World Wide Web for everybody to see and for everybody to use. So, more bacchanal again. Let's go to our lines, Richard.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes, good night.
Hello, good night. Good night to the panel.
Good night.
Yes. I think UNC should stand up for the name of the party, United National Congress, and unite all the parties together, work together, because we don't want a competition. We want them to work together for the sake of the country and the people. The people want betterment. The people want them
Correct.
to go there to do something better and create a name for the party, which might even get a second chance. Now is the time.
Correct.
And if united we stand, divided we fall. Every small party should come together with the United National Congress and at least respect one another and deal with the problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Could not have said it better. Richard, go back to our lines.
Absolutely agreed. And just before we take that next call, the enemy here is the People's National Movement. When there is another government in play, we get dollar for dollar. When the PNM comes into play, they reduce gate. When there is another government in play, there is an increase in school feeding program. And more spending in schools overall. When the PNM is in power, they reduce that. When there is another government in play, we have a decrease in crime. When the PNM comes in power, we have state of emergency. We have attorneys being killed from church. We have commissioner police being arrested and so on and suspended. The enemy here is the People's National Movement, and the enemy for our democracy, the enemy that we should fight against corruption and poor social security and so on, is the People's National Movement. And at the end of the day, what Auntie said is correct. United we are strong, divided we fall. And with that in mind, we should go to the polls as a united front. Yes, caller, good night.
Yeah, hello, good night.
Good night, caller, you're live.
Yeah, fellas, good night. Charlie, Villiers.
Yeah, good night.
Yeah, boy, to tell you the truth, it's already looking too nice, you know. Because, let me tell you why I say that, right? Because of the fact that look at all the madness that's taking place in this country right now. Let me tell you something, UNC only screen about what, 7 people right now?
That's correct.
They announced 7, but they screen Monday they will have screened everybody. They announced 7 candidates, but the press release today said that by Monday they would have screened everybody.
Right, but my point is, all you see what taking place. Them could call an election at any point in time and give their date. Them supposed to don't have their people already screamed and hitting the ground, dealing with the population already. Right?
Yeah.
They move, to me, my personal opinion, they're moving too slow. Right? All this madness taking place inside the PNM. And the PNM already done almost screen out all the candidates already. And I don't want to take up too much of the time. But
Right, anyway, yeah. Well, yeah, so one is that we just taking the answer on the poll right now.
Yeah.
All right, so, but the thing is that, all right, look at something that the PNM has done that nobody ever thought they would do.
Remove their political leader.
Political leader gone and was not replaced with the same ethnicity. That shocked everybody. It shocked me, right? Because a Chinese is a minority in Trinidad and Tobago. So you replace your leader with a member of a minority and the people supporting her. Because let me tell you something, if you see people wishing Stuart happy birthday and behind Stuart now, not only that, you see, let us face facts. And this is not to knock any other race, and this is not to bring down any other race. But you see the Chinese community, you give them one bottle of water, and in 2 months' time, they buy now the building that you're selling the water from. That is the Chinese community. They are entrepreneurs, and they don't like remaining at the bottom, they like to move. And Stuart Young come from a family like that. So this is what a lot of businessmen banking on. A lot of businessmen outside there who don't support V&M, but supporting Stuart because of his business acumen and because of where he came from. So this is a real fight. It is not like no jokey fight, you know. This is a real fight.
Yeah, but you have to remember, Stuart Young is a mini-me of Rowley, you know. Arrogant, disrespectful. Only recently in the news, you watch how he stoops at the reporter. He's smiling and coming to the reporter. The reporter asks him a question. And the man stoops and walk away. And that is Prime Minister material. He ain't get the position yet. And he already stoops in. What go next thing you know, rain will be falling on you, and you know what it might be rain, and what it could be.
Let's go to our lines again. Hello?
Yeah, no?
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, good night.
Good night.
Gentlemen, good night.
Good night.
Will you all pick Gary Sobers to play IPL cricket in India? No.
Not at this time.
Good. It's the same thing. Kamala has reached her peak in her life. For heaven's sake, step down. You have a bright, intelligent woman like Jayanti from the other world. Right?
Brilliant.
Very educated, yeah, could talk in parliament, everything. Why not give the woman a chance? UNC, you give she a chance, UNC win election in the morning. You know what? You see, power and greed, that is a serious thing. And Kamala is no different from Basdeo Pandey. She just don't want to give up. Them will die with their boots right inside it. She'll leave no room for nobody to take leadership. Just power hungry. UNC could win election in the morning. Kamala just needs to stop now. She knows when time is to quit. That is the idea. Quit. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kola. We go back again. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, good evening. Go ahead, please.
Yes, Engine.
Yes, go ahead.
Even people being dissatisfied with the opposition, the PLM is still not the option. People have to agree with that. The country can't take another 5 years.
No, we all of us agree with you, you know. But you see, one of the things that we want is for the opposition chances to be great. We don't want to watch the opposition.
It's the same person that picked Ansel Dennis and Tobago and pick Tracy Davidson. It's the same dynamic. He only put in people that he liked, and the same result would happen down here. Because people rejected in Tobago Tracy Davidson, and he put Stuart Young there to facilitate him own himself to make president at the end of the day. So it's unfortunate, but the country will stand up against it. I hope, and I'm saying that to speak it into fruition, like how Junior Bergeron speak, Commissioner, that we move these people and them from here. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Kola. Thank you.
Yes.
Go ahead, Nazim, take this call.
Hello, good evening. Go on. No.
All right. Yeah. We need to take a break. 8:30. All right. So for those of you who are just joining us, we're doing a poll. And the poll is, based on what you're seeing at present, what do you think are the opposition chances of winning the next general election? And of course, when we come back, we'll take a few more of your calls. Remember, you're watching Breaking Barriers live on IBN Channel 8. We'll be back right after this.
Introducing the finest selection from premium deli and meats. Savor the bold flavors of beef salami, beef pepperoni, and chicken ham. Indulge in our diced beef bacon and perfectly sliced beef bacon. Explore the rich taste of smoked beef and tender roast beef. Treat yourself to our juicy jumbo chicken hot dogs and beef hot dogs. Top it all off with the delicate flavors of smoked turkey breast and our premium whole turkey, all halal certified for your trust. Delivered to you by Chill Foods, premium deli and meats, excellence in every bite.
The power, batter the strongest. Conquer the indestructible with Ronix's collection of angle grinders.
Attention all bakers, doubles vendors and roti makers. Try our high quality bromate-free, all-purpose and whole wheat flour. Low price and conveniently packaged in 2 pounds, 2 kg, 10 kg and 25 kg bags. For wholesale and retail prices, contact Shiklisho Limited at 665-3336 or 4808-715 or visit us at Warrenville, Canupia. Shiklisho Limited, quality you can trust. Ronix's premium quality.
Mitsu Air Limited, authorized Mitsubishi air conditioning dealer. No need to replace your air conditioning units ever so often. Split units, cassette, ductable, CTVIF systems and much more. Mitsubishi Electric has long been powering industries and providing solutions for healthy living. Mitsu Air Limited boasts the industry's first 10-year warranty on all parts and labor. Inverter units are also available. Don't hear it, just feel it. Mitsu Air Limited, 246 Eastern Main Road, Barataria. Give us a call at 674-4000 or 675-4000 or email us at mitsu.limited@gmail.com.
And welcome back, my friends. And of course, to those of you who shocked to see me tonight, I've been on for the last 2 weeks. And of course, I would like to thank many of you for all the messages that you have sent over the last few months. And of course, I would like to thank Nazim and Richard for holding the fort. And of course, we don't know what life has in store next week, next month, you know. So for as long as I am here, hoping that at least, you know, I'm able to pull through with this whole election thing so that we could see this country recover a little bit. Let's go straight to our lines now. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, hello?
Yes, good evening. Go ahead, please.
Good evening, Inshallah, and the team, yeah, man.
Good night.
What I would like to do is just congratulate the caller that called and say Ms. Kama to step down, and they should put in this lady, Ms. Jaiwanti, to really control the party.
Okay, caller, thank you.
Before we take the next call, there's a point I want to make. This is a bit off topic, but I think it's a current issue. This EMBD report being shelved. We've spent $1 billion. We've spent almost a decade looking into it. And we just up one morning and decide to shelve it.
$1 billion, Brett.
Correct, right? That is absolute political wastage. We spent almost 10 years conducting an exercise and grand charging, alleging in the papers every day, alleging in parliament every day, this one go be charged, this one under investigation, we're writing this DPP about this and so on. What has come of that? Is it that certain persons who politically were hoping to be named in it, who certain politicians were hoping to criminally tie into the report and not being identified in the report? Is it that the political motive of the report is not forthcoming? There is no potential for it to be forthcoming, and therefore we just shelve it? Because what the results go say? The results go vindicate people? The results go punish the wrong people that you don't want to be punished? All of a sudden, after you spend almost 10 years and $1 billion, you just shelve it. It's best to leave $1 billion for cockroach to eat.
That is 3 oncology centers there, no, man.
$1 billion. Let's look at it like that. How much roads could I pave?
Schools.
How much scholarships you could I give out? How much schools you could have built or fix?
All the schools that they're dilapidated right now.
How much police vests you could have buy? How much police vehicles you could have maintained and put back on the roads? How much body cameras you could have, you could have paid all the bill for the body cameras? But you spend the money, and when it's time to get the report, after grand charging, and it's time to get the report, you shelve it. I want to see the shelf. We go and we go read it.
Yeah. True FOIA, we go get the shelf.
Yeah.
Let's go back to our lines. Hello.
Hello, good night, Mr. Inishan, and to the panel.
Good evening.
And to the viewing audience. Since you're on the politics, I just want to give my opinion.
Of course.
That if Trinidad and Tobago have this thing called proportional representation, one man to one vote, these kind of politics that we're having won't be taking place. Bad governance won't be taking place. You know, to open room for good governance and maybe the possibility the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago will live far much better, because, I mean, under the PNM, Trinidad have suffered, not just the UNC supporters, but also the PNM and others do suffer a lot under this present administration.
Correct.
So that's my small little contribution. I would like to hear Mr. Jagata, the Honorable, I would say, good attorney, very good attorney. I would like to hear his opinion about this also. So I will view in now and hear your opinion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jagasa is fine. Richard is fine too.
Honorable.
First, there are two things. One, I agree with you entirely, totally, and unconditionally. And we also need the right to recall. The right to recall allows us in constituencies to recall our MPs if they are non-performers, whether they be government MPs, sitting government MPs, or opposition MPs. Those two things, proportional representation and the right to recall, must be two considerations moving forward in any free, fair, and democratic society like ours that is evolving by the hour. Having made that point, let me just confirm that, and I think it has been aired by Bastille Pandey for decades, that a government needs 2/3 majority to make constitutional change. Proportional representation and constitutional reform was Bastille Pandey's baby brainchild. And proportional representation was something that he positioned, and we need 2/3 majority to suggest that. We need 2/3 majority to create that in our constitution and make that law. So I think any progressive mind, you see, the constitution, as good as it is, there's an old saying in democracy where every few decades you should redraft your Bill of Rights and your constitution, because the people who are alive then are not alive now. The issues that were prominent then are not prominent now. The thoughts and processes that were prominent then are not the thoughts and processes that are prominent now. And it's about time that we recognize that, and about time that we come together and we appreciate that the democracy and diversity and divergence of our country has changed drastically. And it may not be appropriate for us to have a two-party system. It may not be appropriate for us to have a bipartisan parliament. It may be appropriate for us to have a more unicameral Congress. And through proportional representation, we achieve that. I don't want to keep the caller waiting too long.
Hello? Hello?
Hi, good night. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam and good evening. Go ahead.
Nice to see you, Mr. Ismail. How are you?
Thank you so much. Greatly appreciated. Get in there.
I would like to say, I would like the NM to go back in power to clean up all the mess, bring back all the money that missing. I don't really want to call any name or anything, but there is a lot to do, and it's very sad or hard for another body to come to go through that to fix the mess they make. Thank you, blessings, good night.
Right, she's saying that because of all the crookery and fraud and all that,
put them back
and let them fix it under our new leadership.
Before we take the other call, I just remembered another point. Proportional representation would depose the PNM as well. Historically, in our country, the opposition parties has always gotten the popular vote. So therefore, proportional representation will depose the People's National Movement. And I mean, it's obvious. I think on one occasion we looked at the seat divergence, and we saw that certain seats, especially in Port of Spain, always tipping the edge, the minimum list, the minimum amount of the electorate, while other constituencies in Central and South always tip the higher end of the range. So I leave that there for now, only to say that proportional representation ought to be where our mind is, ought to be the future of our country's democracy, and that leads to deposing the People's National Movement, which at the end of the day, we all agree, at least I propose and humbly submit, is the main objective.
Take that call, Richard.
Good night, caller. You're live?
Yeah, good night.
Good night.
Go ahead. Hello?
Good night, caller. You're live.
Yes. What I do like, the opposition leader going down a dangerous road. You see these union men and them in chant?
Yeah.
Them dressy like a dog. And she going back with all of them. It don't make sense. Now, I like the PNM. I never like the PNM. But she had to step down and let her go. Let somebody you take the party, man. She going to, if you have to collect your pension, take it because they pass it, take your thing and go home. Let somebody buy you and man, let me get rid of the PNM. This kind of thing is staying. What you staying there for? Buy your bottle of rum and go home and take it if you want. Thank you.
You know, and these calls are not just coming into the airwaves of radio stations. Throughout the media, the Guardian, CNC3 group and all that, when you look at the comments, a large amount of the comments calling for Kamla Persad-Bissessar to step down. And it is something that you don't normally see. You don't normally see. So therefore, I mean, right now it's too late for anybody to step down.
Yeah.
And it is time for everybody to come together. But the problem is that the coming together now is the problem.
Right. And before we take another call, this is a point that we made very early on. Remember, the people who elected and were called to vote were the UNC registered members, the membership. And they chose Kamla Persad-Bissessar. There was opposition, there was an alternative option, and they chose that. So while, yes, there is a call for her to step down, two factors remain prominent. One is that she is the democratically elected political leader of the UNC. And two, the window for that has closed, whether we like it or not. And we need to go into the general election with Kamla Persad-Bissessar at the helm. And what we do is, in a normal democratic society, we position and we propose means by which the party can win. One such means is unity. And that's the main topic tonight. One such means by which we can win and depose the People's National Movement is unity. I mean, you have some seats where small margin of victory, 1,200 votes, 800 votes, and so on. And all you need there is a little knob, is a little tip. And that's all, and that's it. And that's all it takes. Because remember, the People's National Movement are only in government with 2 seats. With 2 seats. You just have to depose 2 seats. Remove the PNM in 2 seats.
Well, you have to remember, Tobago ain't so sure.
Mm-hmm.
So let me say that 2 seat out.
Right.
We back to...
Yeah, back to 18.
You understand? So, Fali, you have to get your act together too, no? Because if PNM get them 2 Tobago seats, hard luck for you.
And let me tell you something, the PNM doing plenty work on the ground in Tobago. Because you can never tell if there may be a shift. Because Tobago people were seriously against Rowley, right? And now that they've seen him almost every day in Tobago, they may even hate him even more. But the fact is that the question is, all right, let us look at St. Joseph, for example, right? This fella, Terence Yeltsin, waste of time. You have people line up and waiting to get MRI and CT scan in 2026 now.
And he giving out cricks.
Right? Now, they will support him again. But the UNC has put up a candidate, Attorney Devesh. Devesh is not known by the majority of people. He's known in a legal fraternity, but he's not known, for example, I have not known him to be a wrong X, Y, and Z. And when you put people like this to get certain things done or to go up for a seat, you're ending up in problems. Because you're putting a candidate who is not a grassroots member there, who the people don't know. So automatically, what does that say? And then not only that, if Gary come with the NTA, if Michaela come with the Patriotic Front, that's split in 4 different directions. PNM go with that again. San Fernando West, say what you want. UNC cannot win San Fernando West with the candidate that they have. They cannot win. Because to beat Faris, you had to come good. And the candidate that they have chosen, unfortunately, is like the walking dead. So it ain't going nowhere. You need a young, look this fella, Kevin Saran, with the NTA.
The doctor.
Brilliant young man, you know. These are the type of candidates you need. But what I'm going to tell you. Let's go back to our lines. Hello? Hello?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
well, please.
Good evening, Mr. Ismail and the attorney there.
Yeah,
Good evening.
You could explain something for me, please? If Mr. Rowley call election, okay? If Mr. Rowley call election and he lost, PNM lost, Young will be out.
Hello?
Paul, are you there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what? Yeah. But I don't think Robbie will be calling the election because he made it quite clear that the anointed PM, the Chindian, and he's a Chindian, eh?
Yeah. But what do you mean, caller, when you say you can finish your question?
Yeah. Let's say Rowley call election. If Rowley call election, he will have to resign and call election. He cannot nominate Young until PNM wins.
Oh, I understand the confusion. All right, caller, thanks. Well, we dealt with that in a previous show, the democracy and the constitutionality of such an appointment. We dealt with that before. And simply put, what Rowley is suggesting is that he will remove himself from Prime Minister either by resignation or some form. Shortly after he comes back from Barbados at the end of this month, he has suggested that, he already said that, but the only person who can't change his mind is a dead man, so he might very well change his mind. And by removing himself, it becomes a vacancy for Prime Minister, and the government will then sign some petition or verify or confirm that they recognize Stuart Young as the leader of the governing party, fill the vacancy of Prime Minister. That's what he has suggested. We've looked at the Constitution on this show, and we've gone through how that is illegitimate, unlawful, and unconstitutional in a free and fair democratic society. But that is what he has suggested, Colin, and I hope that clarifies the steps on which is being proposed. So let's take the other caller. Hi, good night, caller, you're live.
Good evening, caller.
Hi, good evening.
Yes, good evening, sir.
Good evening. I just want to ask a quick, simple question. And that is, if we are to support a party, why it is we can't seem to find this political leader talking to us via the morning shows, you know, like the shows that matter, the shows that you can send your message out or do your marketing to the people of the country where it really matters. This is the question I'd like to ask. Why it is we have to wait until it's convenient for them to come and talk to us at 7 o'clock in the night, when they could be sending and selling their message from 6 in the morning to, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock when people going home, going to work, and that kind of thing. That is the question I'd like to ask. Where is that person to do that job? Thank you very much.
Well, Mr. Because of the big salary, and because of all the daru they'll be drinking, it'll be difficult to get up that hour in the morning to go on any talk show to answer any question or to be part of any interview process. So therefore, quite frankly, I understand what you're saying. Sadly, leaders, we are at their behest call. They decide when it is, they want to talk to us, when they want to talk to us, and that is the reality of it.
Yeah, because it have certain people that only go on a particular radio station from the government. They don't go to no other station beside one particular radio station. I'm sure you know which station I'm
right, no,
about.
but you see, again, it happens on all sides, where you have the opposition will favor certain stations because they don't get costs on that radio station.
Right. So it goes on both sides.
Let's go back to our lines. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, Sean, good night.
Good night, good night.
Hello?
What happened? Yeah, you hear me?
Yeah, we are hearing you very softly.
Okay, yeah. My phone probably soft now.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and Sean, good night and everybody there. I don't think Rowley them, they don't afraid the UNC party, They're afraid Kamala, it's Kamala right going on the road with, It's Kamala them afraid, Them don't afraid the UNC, Anybody that says there's only going to Kamala to step down, people going to Kamala to step down. But Rowley don't afraid nobody in that party. It's Kamala afraid. That's all I have to say.
No, I don't. I don't think so. I think what I mean is that Rowley is very comfortable with Kamala, because you see, even the PNM has said once Kamala is there, they forever in government, and they have said it time and time again. So the PNM is comfortable with Kamala in the leadership position. Hello. Hello.
Hello, good night.
Good night.
Yeah, I think what the gentleman was asking a couple of calls ago is if Peter Rowley could decide to call the election tomorrow, then Parliament will have to be dissolved. Right. So there will be no Prime Minister, and then going into the election, if PNM should lose, then Stuart Young will not become the Prime Minister. I think that's the question the guy was asking.
Well, the answer to that is yes. The answer to that is yes. Instead, like I said, if the gentleman changes his mind, if the Prime Minister today has changed his mind and instead calls an election as opposed to what he had suggested in January, well then yes, that eventuality will take place. The People's National Movement will go into election with a political leader or a vacancy for political leader. And if they lose, well then so be it, and then they will address their internal politics. But the government of the day will then be the opposition, the current opposition. So yes, I think if that's what he's saying, yes, the Parliament, when an election writ is issued by the President, Parliament automatically dissolves. In fact, the leader of government business has to in fact propose that, and the same time that happens is generally when the President announces the date.
Yes, because I think a lot of people have an issue with Stuart Young probably going in there and being the Prime Minister for a week or two,
yeah,
and then going home with this big pension.
Yeah. Well, what I think was their thinking, caller, is that Stuart Young will have more than 2 or 3 weeks. He may have a couple months. He may have 6 or 8 weeks, and he will repaint the PNM. He will put on window dressing, all the cracks and holes and accusations and so on. He will make an attempt to cover it up as a campaign strategy, and sort of convince the people that this is a new brand of the PNM. This is a new house because the paint changed, the color changed a little bit, a fresh coat of paint. And with that facade, he will present the PNM as a viable option for a 15-year government. But I think the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, and from what we've heard on the callers so far, the citizens are smarter now than we've ever been. The citizens now understand real politics and real service to country and nation. I think now with the advent of technology, this thing in our hand is a supercomputer. Little children can access anything in the world. Students, graduates and so on, UE students and so on, access information at the tip of your fingers. And with that has risen a more educated society. And with a more educated society, we now have a population that isn't as easily fooled as the PNM may like to believe. And I would hope that the country remembers remembers the things that has happened under the PNM in the last 9 years and make the choice appropriately when the time comes. Now, we don't know who the players are going to be in the next general election. Candidates have not been selected across the board. And what I would look for as a young person, as an educated individual, what I would look for is the party that presents the best option for a government. In other words, I want to see a mix of grassroots persons as elected officials and show me who your Attorney General is going to be. Show me who your Minister of National Security is going to be. Show me who your Minister of Finance is going to be. Show me who your Minister of Housing is going to be, and so on. Show me that as a voter, invite me, court me, entice me to want to vote and support you. And that, I'm telling you, that is how to get me attracted to you. And when I look at the PNM and I look at their former ministers, well, about to be former ministers, I have to tell myself they have failed. Minister of Stoops failed. Minister Accident and Teardrop down here and giving out Danish biscuits failed, in my opinion. So if you give me an alternative to that, and that alternative presents a case why I should vote for him, then you have my vote. It's as simple as that.
Take that call, Azim.
Hello, good evening. Hello.
Hello, good night, good night.
Yeah, good night, sir.
Good night, gentlemen. Mr. Inshan and company, look, you have to understand that the PNM would have gotten into power through lies with, remember, Emailgate? Yeah?
Correct.
And so there was nothing credible about the PNM getting into power, and they have done nothing to enhance the chances of government, except that the politics in Trinidad and Tobago is purely based on race, ethnicity. And when you look at the dynamics of the politics from the East-West corridor, there are 13 constituencies that was designed as voter banks, so that give the PNM an unfair advantage when you look at the population of Shagwanas and all the other areas where there should have been, other constituencies added because of the population. So, and I hear the argument that Kamla is supposed to step down. Now, if Kamla had taken that chance and stepped down, as we would want to say, not forget that she would have won the election. She was not appointed or anointed there. She won fairly and squarely. So by the virtue of that, she's entitled to be here. But let me go with your argument, Mr. Inshan, that she stepped down. Tell me, you know what would have happened or what perceived to have happened in the UNC with a further fragment, because you have Jerlene John, you have Wade Mark and company, who in the party would have been looking as a deputy political leader in Jerlene John, who has political ambition to lead the party. Then you would have the race card coming in, if Jerlene John would have appointed, the party would have imploded. There are no two ways about that. So you have to, the minute she would have done that, Dr. Rowley would have used that opportunity to call a snap election. Catch the UNC with the pants down. With respect to Gary Griffith, I heard Kamla saying to Gary, do not come on my campaign trail on my Monday night forum. Go to your constituents and let me see the kind of crowd you pull in. So then we would be talking from a position of strength. He took offense to that. And I heard you describe Mr. Dowlat, I think it is, as a living there. That was very unkind of you. I doubt you know very much about the gentleman to make that kind of...
No, but the thing is that statement was made based on the people who knew him in that area.
No. I'm saying you made the statement.
No, but what you're not understanding is that I made that inference based on what I was told by people whom I know who reside in the area.
I don't think as a moderator, it came across very well at all.
No, well, the fact is that it is my opinion, and the reality of it is that...
No, it is not the reality, Mr. Inshan.
But it is a reality for people on the ground.
You are very out of place. I know this is your program, but you are very out of place to describe the gentleman like that.
But at the end of the day, that is my opinion.
As a moderator, you have failed,
At the end of the day, that is my opinion.
Consistently, you have failed as a moderator with your level of arrogance.
But the reality of it is that you mentioned, let's go back.
That is not the truth. I am saying to you, you have failed.
You finished?
Yes, you have failed miserably.
My dear friend, I am not here to kiss anybody's backside like you. At the end of the day, I am not getting anything out of this except I want a better country. You're talking about Gary had told her. No, she had told Gary. Well, let me just mention this. Kamala had told Gary to go, you go and you pull your own crowd and see what value you are, what worth you are. The party that Kamala have right now around her, the Love Party, how many people they had around them? The other parties, how many people they had around them? So at the end of the day, I speak from a position of reality. You have people who are failures in terms of representation. You're going to put somebody in a constituency. When you look at the history of working with that constituency, when you look at fundraisers, community work, standing up for the community, I have never heard that name mentioned. But you come here talking a set of bullcrap and telling me that at the end of the day, as the moderator, I must accept it. No, the reality of it is that here happening. I am not here to toe and take sides. I am here to give you a dose of reality. And if you have a problem with that, hard luck. Let's go to our lines. Hello? Hello?
Hello? Yes, you hear me?
Yes, we
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I just want to make a quick point, and I want to zone this into PNM supporters' head. This is not about the PNM. This is more than about the PNM right now. People need to understand that this group of white-collar misfits that are running the country to the ground is doing something that this country has never seen, and is making people like Eric Williams and Mannington in the grave. The level of corruption, cronyism, and chaos is beyond anything. And this is not just about PNM. People who in the PNM need to understand this is a group of scoundrels and rascals, as Sadhguru said, that is destroying this country. We have to take this beyond the PNM now. This is about a group of people that is running the country to the ground.
Yeah, but Kola, if we do not come together, how is that going to be possible? We're just spinning top in mud.
Well, yes, the opposition forces need to come together right now. That is important. And regardless of whatever it is right now, we have to understand where we are at in this country. I am foreseeing some very bad times coming for us if it is that we go down the road of the PNM way. I'm seeing civil unrest. I'm seeing a lot of problems coming. Now, Winchan, I remember a few years ago I told you when Brownie was doing the furlough thing, just a few weeks before I told you that it was going to happen. It did happen. I don't know if you remember that.
Well, it's difficult for me to remember everything. I wish I could.
No, but I remember telling you I'm afraid that was going to happen, and it did happen. And I am seeing if the PNM wins another 5 years, there's going to be civil unrest in this country. People need to take stock of that. So with by any means necessary right now, it is too late to ask for Kamala to step down as much as we would want.
Which I agree with.
But we have to come together. It's the only way that our country will survive. We will reach the Haiti stages or worse if we continue down this road.
Dorina, man, we have 10,000 yams.
No, jam, and there is lamb and jam for them. Imagine them taking 80-something% and leaving public service at 4%, and people not seeing that. What madness is that?
Thank you very much, Kola.
Okay.
Thank you.
See if you can get some yam seed to plant in Baraka.
No, I'll get it next week. Let's take this call and then we'll take a break. Hello? Hello?
Yes, hello?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Good night.
Good night, my brother.
It's not only that Kamala should step down, you know. There are some people around her who should also be going. You see the dissident members who they want to get rid of, like Rushton Parry and them?
Yeah.
They should be the ones that take the lead in the party. And they're supposed to come with a serious development plan for Trinidad and Tobago, because for the past 9 years, out of all the ministers that have, the only thing I really see improve is the water supply to some people. Not all, some. But other than that, it's only now in the election year where they will come to play, they want to do something. And you see that salary raise that they get? They have a lot of public servants who really are satisfied with that, because we've seen our tax money being frittered away on leakage, wasted, mismanagement, and legal fees. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. You know, one of the most brilliant persons that the opposition had, and they consider her a dissident now, is Anita Haynes. Anita Haynes, if you listen to her, would have been one of the most, considered one of the best education ministers that this country has ever seen. But that is a story by itself. We need to take our second break. Remember, you're watching Breaking Barriers live right here on IBN Channel 8, live on YouTube and on Facebook. We'll be back right after this.
Introducing the finest selection from Premium Deli and Meats. Savor the bold flavors of beef salami, beef pepperoni, and chicken ham. Indulge in our diced beef bacon and perfectly sliced beef bacon. Explore the rich taste of smoked beef and tender roast beef. Treat yourself to our juicy jumbo chicken hot dogs and beef hot.
The power. To shatter the strongest. Conquer the indestructible with Ronex's collection of angle grinders. Ronex's premium quality.
Mitsu Air Limited, authorized Mitsubishi air conditioning dealer. No need to replace your air conditioning units ever so often. Split units, cassette, ductable, CTVIF systems, and much more. Mitsubishi Electric has long been powering industries and providing solutions for healthy living. Mitsu Air Limited boasts the industry's first 10-year warranty on all parts and labor. Inverter units are also available. Don't hear it, just feel it. Mitsu Air Limited, 246 Eastern Main Road, Barataria. Give us a call at 674-4000 or 675-4000 or email us at mitsu.limited@gmail.com.
Mr. Jagisa, I find you kind of quiet tonight. What say you based on the calls? We'll hold up the calls for now. We'll hold up the calls for now. Because the reason why I decided to take as much calls tonight, it is because last week we didn't take any. So tonight I decided that we'll start it off and balance it. So therefore nobody could say that we didn't give them an opportunity. So based on everything that you have heard tonight, let me hear.
There's a clear consensus. The People's National Movement is the enemy. People's National Movement needs to be removed. The People's National Movement cannot be the government for the next 5 years. What we depart on is how do we remove them? Some say one thing, some say another. At the end of the day, like I said, we are in a framework where Kamala Prasad is the elected, democratically appointed person as political leader of the UNC. It is therefore her prerogative to say, these are my terms and conditions going into the next general election. I say, and I understand the majority of callers to be saying, that those terms and conditions need to allow for as much unity and culmination as possible. Otherwise, we will go into this thing fragmented and leave too much room for the PNM where their seats are cut a particular way, where their voter turnout is always lower than everywhere else. We leave too much room for that sort of inequity to force us into another 5 years of the PNM. And joining simply means that we agree to remove the PNM. After that, like I said earlier, I personally would like to see who are the ministers and so on, who are the potential ministers, who are the intended ministers. Even if you want to bring somebody in as a senator, tell me that. Tell me that as the voter. I intend to make this person the minister of this, because whatever reason, and let the voter have enough time, ample time to hear that person's plans and so on for the ministry. Now I say that others may simply be satisfied with the 41 names, and therein I say is our clear roadmap to deposing the PNM. Therein I say that we are just 2 seats away from removing the PNM. We have some talk about Tobago, we have some talk about St. Joseph, we have some talk about some other seats and so on. At the end of the day, it's just 2 seats. So why not? Why not go into this thing united? Why leave any room for doubt? Why not go into this thing in a place and position of strength and remove the wicked and the wicked PNM? A PNM government that, what was the vote, 9-11? Yeah, 11 for, 9 against? Yeah. How can we accept that? How can we as a nation accept that? Now, one of the callers made a comment there. They won on lies and pointed to email gate. What about EFCL gate? What about Sporty T gate? That has now been, what, shelved? What are we doing with that? What about Commissioner Erla gate? Arrest a commissioner and then send her home while you have other officers holding high positions investigating Erla, who is also being asked by the Police Complaints Authority and so on for the DPP to lay charges and consider charges and so on. They continue to serve in the TTPS. So how can we live in such a world? How can we live in a world where everybody have burglar proof on their door now? You're afraid to walk to your car. How can we live in such a world? And the answer is we cannot. And we cannot risk it going into the next election. So why not approach it with a position? If you're caught in a gale, and you're caught the gale with your best clothes, the best night of the week, if that's Friday for you, Saturday for you.
Your best dandan.
Your best dandan. That's clothes, right? Yeah. Right? You cut your hair. You can't cut your hair. And you spray your cologne. And you go and you cut the gale. Because you don't want any room for doubt. When you finish, you want the gale to be yours. And that's what we have to do. That's what we have to do to remove the PNM. You have to court the voter. You have to court, sweet talk the voter. And we do that. We do that by opening the doors to discussion, negotiations, possible solutions to the various aspects of society that has failed, the various aspects of the government that has failed. And therein lies how the opposition proposes to fix the country. And that's the main thing as a young voter.
Nazim, what do you think?
Well, boy, as Richard rightly said, the main objective, the paramount goal is we have to get rid of this. We'll just like to add, like the health sector, for instance. We hear the amount of things happening at different levels. But I just want to, like the health sector, for instance, I was asked to join the clinic. I am retiree, no problem. I could go and line up for 4 hours. Me, no worries to that. You know what I mean? They gave me an appointment for ultrasound in May 2026. I might dead by that time. And that is what you are going to vote for. I asked the girl in the office, I say, so why May 2026? She said, everybody come in Mount Hope. So I say, wait, hold your hand.
So it failed then? It came
I say, wait, hold your hand. What happened to the new hospital in Grandy? What happened to the new hospital in Arima?
Point 14.
What happened to Point 14 hospital?
We don't have none of that. And now, Ghana giving we yam seed. Yam seed for what? Look at Guyana. Guyana right now is doing this thing, what do you call it again, but it's a very popular. Guyana is using hundreds of acres and thousands of acres, right, to secure their economy, because they know even though Guyana is hitting oil right now, and they're going to be, you know, in the oil-rich arena for years to come, they're already putting things in place and investing money just in case the oil goes down. So Trinidad didn't do that.
Diversification.
Right, soybean. That is what I was soybean. Guyana investing hundreds of millions in soybean. But we can't do that.
You have to remember, diversification is an annoying word for Rowley, you know. And he said it, you know. He say every time they just mention it, and he say that is an annoying word. You see what's going on with our gas and all that, and what's going to happen with dragon gas if the dragon can't dance again? What's going to happen?
The dragon can't fly, dead. Yeah. Now, before we depart too far from Petrojam, we need to look at Petrojam, the owners of Petrojam. We need to look at if anybody in Trinidad, any government minister, any government adjacent minister have shares in that company. We need to look at some company registry records and see who made companies just a couple of years ago, maybe last year or year before, which senior party member may have made a company overnight for oil production, for importing barrels of oil, and gotten certain licenses and so on before this Petrojam thing became official. We need to look at who holds companies who have degree in, let's just say, who have degree in accounting, but all of a sudden owning company to import oil. Who have LLB, but owning company to import oil. I just saying, let's look at those things and see, and I feel we ain't going to shelve that report. I feel that report will have some weight in it, and more weight than me, because I think it's 110, 115.
Richard, you know, just to segue a bit, one of the most shocking things I came across was some news from Guyana this week. We have a picture of the young lady. Justin, right. This young girl, Millie, 12 years old. She committed suicide. Guyana. She died on Monday, and they buried her on Friday. And the tomb, come back to me, guys, the tomb that was next to her, right? They dug a tomb next to her, and somebody went in her coffin and sexually molested her.
Oh, no.
A 12-year-old, a child that committed suicide, somebody went and molested that child after that child died. So if you think that this world that we are living in, not full of sick people, Breds, it's full of sick people. Because when I look at what is taking place worldwide, you know, my religion always tells me that the worst of people, there will come a time when the worst of people will be the leaders. And we're seeing that in the US right now because you have a madman. Not only that, people will kill and they will not even know why they're killing. Richard, we're in a SOE right now. The killing stop?
No. It intensify. It intensify. It intensify. You're killing people as they come from church now. You're killing lawyers in the DPP office. Again, I should say now. That's where we reach. It intensify. And police, like them can't shoot straight. Them they shoot here and the bullet does land in the people's house, inside the kitchen and chip the boy ears.
The police right now and the security forces, they're coming out fully on roadways. Tint, they're holding people.
Watch.
Where was the roadblock? Yeah, this was today, right?
Today. Richard, you tell me, we in a country right now where we have a problem with guns and gun control, etc.
Right.
90% of those tickets you didn't have on your seatbelt.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Your insurance probably lapsed.
Right.
Which I agree is a breach of the law.
Yeah, those things are breaches.
But these are people coming from work.
Right. Yeah.
Right? These are people coming from Port of Spain. You spend a hard day because you catch your tail in the morning going to work already.
Right.
And to drag them through this, for what? But what I want you to do, through the Freedom of Information Act, my brother, get what is the overtime for police and for licensing officers with all the roadblocks taking place all over the country. Hundreds of millions of dollars, Richard.
Consider that done. But before we depart from the point, you see roadblocks, I have advocated for this several times over. Roadblock is one of many viable crime fighting options. In Trinidad and Tobago, it's the only crime fighting option. A roadblock should have officers on site who could run a search on persons' names on vehicles to determine if the vehicle is reported stolen, if the vehicle is under suspicion of any criminal offense, and deal with it accordingly. Police officers ought to be able to run persons' names through a system right there on the roadblock and see if the gentleman has any, or the female has any warrants outstanding for even simple things like failure to pay maintenance or fingerprints and so on, match a crime scene. If we do that, then by all means, roadblock and give ticket for tint and whatever else you want. Yes, those are breaches of the law. But murder, kidnapping, assault, rape, those are more serious offenses, which also need to be addressed.
Mr. Jarisa, when this country vaccinated 700,000 people, which they were forced to do in most instances, if the government had put in place taking blood samples for DNA bank and taking fingerprints, what do you think would have happened by now? By now, 2 years later, we would have had this entire population on a system where fingerprints, because 90% of the time when you find fingerprints at the crime scene, they're not on the database. Same thing with DNA. So if we had a system whereby everybody, if this country was serious about crime, every man jack, every child that is born on a DNA database, on a fingerprint database. So anytime you find something, at least you could go back and say, well, here we're playing, this person, they might be illegal because they're not on the system. But we can't do that. We don't have brain to do that.
You thinking too progressive, that is your problem. And even if we do that, we still have a failure in the Forensic Sciences Center. We have insufficient facilities, we have insufficient employees and so on. There was an entire article, we dealt with that before. And that is a revolving door where it's just failure and failure and failure. A crime is committed, the evidence goes to Forensic Science Center. It takes months, if not years, to come back because of lack of resources. When it comes back inconclusive, as the case may be, we can't prosecute the criminal goes back on the street because of want of evidence. And it's a revolving door. And yes, something as simple as simply taking your fingerprints of and your DNA and so on will help crime fighting. Equally so, putting some funds in the Forensic Sciences Center and other institutes like that to help us with DNA evidence and other scientific molds of evidence and so on will help us in the criminal justice system and help us in our fight against crime. But that's not what this government wants to do.
They're partnering with the criminals. Look, when we build a guard boot, it have a guard boot being constructed in Forest constituency. As Sarah didn't post up the photos tonight. The people go on and put a full-fledged cesspit with cesspit tank and the size of it, it's bigger than the one in Bamboo. And they get approval for that. But our guard boot, something that we would have used to deal with criminals, was a problem. Because you see the PNM more on the side of criminals in this country. First time a guard boot break down so fast in history.
And 5 o'clock in the morning.
And 5 o'clock in the morning.
With 3 vans with a police.
And with 16 officers because Inshan is a terrorist. Because Inshan is bin Ishmael. Anyway, fellas, we'll have 2 minutes again. Nazim, your final points.
Well, I would like to make it, as I say, pellucidly clear. People of this country, the aim right now in the upcoming general election is to get rid of this government legally at all costs. Another 5 years, if all you think this 10 years was bad, PNM getting the next 5 years is going to be 3 times worse as this 10 years going here. So my take on this, Mrs. Bisesa, get your act with the UNC and the other parties, and the other parties, all you have to know that, hey, all you're not as powerful or don't have the weight as the UNC. All you have to humble all yourself.
Correct.
Humble all yourself, and let's get together. That is the only way we can move forward. That is my point.
Uncle Richard?
I like how you would that, you know. Men come in with 12 votes and want a safe seat, you know. Yeah. But at the end of the day, the enemy is the People's National Movement, and in whatever form it comes in, whoever sits at the head. You know why? Because historically, the People's National Movement always fail our country. And I've gone through the list. I've gone through the list of things. At the end of the day, removal of the PNM is our main and primary objective. And by whatever means necessary, you keep saying legally, so I don't know, I have to say that as well now. By whatever means necessary, we need to remove them and depose them and replace them.
Within the confines of the law.
I just only talk about the confines of the law.
When you're in court.
I don't know what they suggested. But at the end of the day, that is what we have to do, and there are many ways to go about doing that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jagisan, of course, Nazim, and of course, you've been watching Breaking Barriers right here on IBN Channel 8. Two things. Number one, why you big head in my shot, boy? I seen a John Travolta hairstyle just pull across. Right, anyway, our flea market, the Ramadan flea market, officially kicks off next week, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And look out for this one. This one is going to be huge. It's going to be huge. Right? I see Nazim shaking his head because from the layout of tents this afternoon, I don't know what is going to happen in terms of parking and anything, but I will have to approach Nagar to see how they could assist us with parking arrangements and see if we could probably buy the piece of land across the road as well. Right? So next week, Friday, book it. Come down with the family bus align. And of course, if you have a business and you're still looking to get on board, maybe we might squeeze you in because might be able to find a space for you. All right, but this is where I have to end it off. Thank you so much. God bless you. And of course, be safe outside there, folks. And remember, at the end of the day, the goal is to unify Trinidad and Tobago and to unify all opposition forces. Not just one or two, but all, so that we could deal with the issue of getting rid of the present administration so Trinidad and Tobago could once again breathe. Take care, folks, and I'll catch you next week for Breaking Barriers. There is a repeat of this program, 9 p.m. on Saturday, so you can tune in there. Take care, assalamu alaikum, and good evening.